As the network perimeter disperses deeper into the internet cloud, the boundaries between internal and external enterprise operations has become blurred. It's a challenging time to be a CISO. At RSA Conference 2023, I had the chance to speak with NTT Global Senior Security Executives Shinichi Yokohama and John Petrie all about this. So how would you frame the challenge of network security, especially the last 5 years, even the last 2 years, Yokohama-san?
I would frame the changes over the last 3-5 years under the language of convergence. And when I say convergence, it is a lack of boundaries, i.e., in the sense of network, the boundaries between the in-company and out-of-company is going away. And also the boundaries between the IT and network is also going away. So from the security point of view, the definition of network security is getting very blurred, and we have to define it as a IT and network converged security.
And John, I wonder if you could frame the transition we're in the middle of here.
In a nutshell, we're talking about the dissolution of the perimeter itself from a technical perspective. It no longer exists. We have work at home. We have other ecosystem areas that we talk about as it relates to security. So one of the things that's happened is that we have to now start thinking about security, as Yokohama-san mentioned, as a converged enterprise, a converged ecosystem. We have to protect the cloud. We have to protect on-prem in some cases. So the convergence and the digitalization of the ecosystem, I think, is where the changes have occurred, especially over the last 3 years.
It's very, very complex challenge for companies to secure in a very, very dynamic environment.
It's a journey, and we cannot conclude the convergence is over. And the companies, not only NTT, but our clients also, has to go through this journey to what they say the quote and unquote zero trust. But the convergence of digital technologies, network and IT, cloud, endpoints, mobile devices, all taking place at once. The journey itself would be company specific, and the CISO of each corporation has to devise its own journey roadmap.
I mean, there's so much going on here, so much specific innovation that your panel just talked about.
Right.
But could you put it into like maybe a few buckets? What are the important areas now that
a lot of our clients, and certainly we're driving for, is to get to a zero trust. And it is a huge journey. It's not something that happens overnight. So there's different changes, different implementations that have to occur. One size does not fit all, number one. Number two, the solutions that you use is really dependent on what your business model is. For us, zero trust is really around identity. Our core pillar to get to zero trust is identity, and that's where we're driving. So each of our operating companies has a identity management solution, and may not be the same, but we have created an abstraction layer. And so that converges the technologies into a single one. That's where we're driving. So short answer to your question is I think most companies are driving towards a zero trust framework, and to execute that, you can't do it alone, and you can't have a single solution. It has to be multiple solutions to get there.
And Yokohama-san, granted, yes, access and authentication is a huge piece of this, that we need to solve.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that in context of a platform?
Sure.
We need other things as well, do we not?
I mean, my view is that in addition to the specific technological solutions, we have to first think about the enterprise security architecture. That each corporation has to devise what security architecture they want to achieve. The enterprise wants to have a sort of North Star. And that's the single most important exercise that CISO has to go through. Then, piece by piece, what kind of technology solutions, such as ID access management, do we want to have? Or what kind of platform, such as cloud securities, such as email securities, each piece by piece solutions, they have to choose which one fits best to my architecture. So the architecture should come first, and then they would define which product choice they would prefer. And again, the answer would be different by the choice of the architect.
Yes, certainly architectures are dramatically and drastically shifting. Let me turn to John on this. Cloud infrastructure, cloud resources, Azure, Amazon Web Services, increasingly being leveraged by companies of all sizes. Right. How does that factor into this transition of architectures?
So for us, once you go through the enterprise architecture planning process and create that architecture, as Yokohama-san indicated, what comes out of that is reference architecture. So we have a reference architecture for cloud. We have a reference architecture for endpoints. We have a reference architecture for closed networks. So reference architectures then are the points that you determine, what technologies you're going to use in order to secure the environment.
When we say security architectures, we don't mean only technology security architectures. It should also cover the operations. It should cover also governance. So even though we choose, for example, security reference security architecture of AWS, depending on how you want to run it, how you want to govern it, and who are running it, people skills, that's different by country. So the CISO has to define not only the technical side of the architects, but also governance as well as operation, which leads to the talent definitions, people, resources, who we are talking about. That kind of holistic design is needed.
Let me turn to John on this. Could you frame managed security service providers, the role they've had when they started up maybe 10, 15 years ago, but more importantly, in today's environment, which is fast changing and dynamic?
The change from just monitoring a log file, for example, and coming up with a anomaly indicator has changed drastically. You're talking about now looking at behavior of entities in attack sequences. Example is that if you have a attacker that's hitting your enterprise and they make a lateral move, you want to be able to identify that. MSSPs are transitioning to a much more smart technology. So they're moving from standalone endpoints to managed security solutions to now XDR, which is, going to be much more of a smarter solution, providing almost immediate response time and identification.
Advanced detection and
Advanced detection and response, right.
That brings in innovation, Yokohama-san.
When people say innovation, people typically talk about the product innovation or product development. I think that innovation in product development is important and will continue to be important. But going forward, I think how to use products smartly and in a secure way, it itself becomes also an innovation. Talking about example of, ChatGPT, and it is an innovation. But the more innovation is needed, how to use it in a secure manner, how to use it in a smart manner in each corporations. And I think that lots of executives are wondering, how can we use it in a smart and secure way? Somebody has to work out, and this is a way that the new technology is used in a smart and secure way.
Yeah, technology alone is not the answer.
So it is a product development, but it is a product usage. Innovation in the product usage will become more and more important. An entity will be able to a good player in the space, given our scale and scope. We would first use the new technology for our internal purpose, and we'll come up with the way how to use it in a smart and secure way. And we'd like to bring that knowledge and experience to our clients as a part of our security solution.
Do you think there are drivers in place today that will provide an impetus for that to accelerate? The best practices is part of it. The technology certainly is coming along.
I would say that listening to the voice of the clients, not only the security officers, but the IT officers or digital officers who are driving the use of the new technology into their corporate transformation. Listening to their voice, what their pain points are, that's a primary driver for our innovation.
So, John, you've got your boots on the ground, so to speak, in the innovation space. Can you maybe give us a little color around what you see here this week on the floor at RSA that's encouraging or promising or new innovation that's going to help?
There's all kinds of toys here,
Yeah.
okay, and it's really exciting to see global innovation come together as it relates to innovators finding various problems and attacking those problems with new technology. So that's very exciting, and anytime you get innovators in the same location talking about a problem set, it's always interesting. Interesting things start to happen where they share their individual solutions and or products together, and sometimes that drives a cascading effect of multiple innovators putting together into a single product or solution.
So in closing, Yokohama-san, may I ask you, given what we've discussed here, what encourages you about whether we, the global U.S., the Asia, Europe, is going to figure out security to the extent that will enable digital services to move to the next level?
Sure. I am a super optimist, so I see a very promising opportunity for both the digital society and for the successful digital society. Security would play a much important role. Security as well as trust. Both are the foundation for a digital society, and the entity wants to be a part of such journey.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you so much.
substantive
Appreciate it.
discussion. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.